Hi you folks, Toad here with Visordown.com. I am in Austria today and we are on the launch of KTM's new 790 Duke for 2026. So this really is the 790's biggest update. Most likely it's had some technical changes, internal engine changes, chassis changes, and the electronics have all been updated as well. So KTM have brought us to the motherland. They have brought us to the Austrian Alps where we have been testing this bike out. We took it up the incredible Glockner Pass, which was absolutely insane. Spent a whole day riding it and it's just been a hell of a lot of fun, which is what these bikes are about. They're about the roads that we've been riding them on today. So, as ever with the Visordown review, I'm going to take you through everything that's new. I'm going to tell you how it's been to ride, and then I'm going to tell you what I think and where it sits in the market. So, starting at the top of the changes, the biggest one that you can see is probably the styling. So the front end has changed, the headlight has changed, you've got new DRLs. The bodywork is much more angular than it was on the previous generation bikes, but it's still got that unmistakable KTM Duke DNA. It's all slash cuts and jagged edges going on with it, which makes it look very edgy, very modern. Moving away from the styling, we've got a new TFT dash and we've got a new electronic interface. So the interface has been updated, the switchgear is slightly nicer than it was on previous generation Dukes, and the TFT in itself, the actual thing that's stuck on the handlebars up there, has got a very nice anti-glare coating on it as well, which is very handy. Suspension has been updated, so we've got a WP Apex open cartridge suspension, which is adjustable on this one now, which is for rebound and compression damping. We have got new brakes. This is the big news story, so we've got WP braking systems as well on the bike. Weight-wise, it comes in at 185 kilograms ready to ride, and the seat is 825 mil. The ergonomics have been changed, so the seat is flatter despite having the same height. It's actually got a narrower step over, so it's been contoured more to the front to give you a little bit of an easier step over. Sticking with the rider ergonomics, the foot pegs have been lifted and moved back slightly, and the handlebars are also flatter than they were before. And interestingly, the bar risers on this bike now are, you can flip them basically. So if you want a more relaxed riding position, a little bit closer to you, you can flip them around and they'll be a little bit nearer to you. And if you want a bit more of an aggressive over the headstock riding position, you can flip them around the other way and have a bit more of an engaging riding position. Another big change, and this is one that a lot of people who owned a 790 Duke or rode a 790 Duke kind of wanted, was they've changed the tyres out. So it's no longer Maxxis as standard. It comes on Pirelli Diablo Rosso 4s, which kind of, for this sort of bike, is exactly the sort of tyre that you would expect it to arrive on. It's a premium tyre, heats up quickly, does well in dry weather, does well in rain, does well on track. It kind of does everything. So for this bike, it's a perfect fit. 5 horsepower on this one. We've got 87 Newton meters of torque. There is also a lower horsepower version available for your A2 license holders, so they can get it restricted down to 47 bhp. You do get cruise control as well if you're willing to spec it as an option, or you can include that with the Tech Pack bundle. If you go for that bundle, you'll automatically get cruise control. This is kind of a big deal. It's becoming a bit more commonplace on bikes in this segment, so it's just quite nice that KTM have done that, albeit adding it on as an optional extra might hurt some people. So what is the braking system? So we've got 4 piston, I think 40mm diameter piston calipers at the front. They're on 300mm discs. At the back, we've got a 240mm sliding single piston caliper. It's not just the calipers, the entire braking hardware has been totally updated. So the master cylinder and the clutch lever are both WP branded and they're WP designed, developed. And the interesting thing about the master cylinders, and this is something that I quite like because I've got quite small hands, is instead of having the usual 5, 6 or 7 steps of adjustment that you can have, it's almost stepless. So you can get an infinite amount of adjustment. So you're never in that zone in between it being just the right distance from the bar for you to reach or just a little bit close. You can dial it into exactly where you want. So without further ado, I reckon we should go through the review. Only been riding on the road today. There was an option to do some track riding this afternoon, but really I've learned everything that I needed to on the stunning roads here in the Austrian Alps. The first thing that I need to say is this is very much, it's still an unmistakable bike. That Duke DNA is very much still there. Everything feels urgent, everything feels a little bit aggressive when you start to push it, but that's kind of the brand that KTM have built around the Dukes of all of their sizes. They're raucous, they're bikes that need to be ridden hard, and that is very much still the case with this one. But there's a lot of little things that KTM have done that have made this one just a bit better than the previous generation bike. And I'm going to start with one of the main ones that I picked up on, and that is the refinement. And I'm not just talking about the refinement of one particular thing, I'm talking about the refinement of a few different aspects of the bike. The first one is the engine. This bike feels much happier sitting at low speeds, riding around town and chugging away gently than the previous bike did. The previous bike had a tendency to sort of start bucking, and it'd feel belligerent as you were riding it slowly through town, like it didn't want to go that slowly. This bike does feel much more at home doing that sort of stuff, which is very, very good. The next thing that I want to say is add another layer of refinement is the quick shifter and the gearbox. So the gearbox feels less agricultural than I remember the old 790 being. So the quick shifter works very well up to a point. It's got a couple of points in the RPM range where going from first to second and second to third, it will need a blip, but that is quite a common occurrence. But overall, the lever feel does feel very good. It's got a nice direct click into the next gear, and I think I only had one false neutral during our day of riding today, which in a day when I've had thousands of gear changes really isn't that much of an issue at all. The other piece of refinement that KTM have added to the bike is with the suspension, because obviously they've gone to the WP Apex open cartridge system, which is a more premium setup than the non-adjustable suspension that was on the bike before. But they haven't just done that, they've actually added more travel at the rear of the bike. So you've got 20mm more travel at the rear, which means the bike can be more composed through the stroke at the rear. And that is the one that I noticed when I was riding it around town. When you're hitting potholes and speed bumps and lumps and bumps, you didn't get quite as much of a kick up the backside like you did off the old bike. Once we got out of town and we were riding up the mountain passes here in Austria, the front suspension is very good. I don't know if they put us out on totally stock settings. I think they might have done a little bit of tweaking just before we went out on the road ride. But overall, the front end has got a lovely composure. You can drive the front wheel into the tarmac, and it gives you a really nice composed travel through the stroke as you're braking into sharp hairpins and into slower corners, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm going to move away from the handling of the bike and just talk very quickly about the comfort of it. Overall, the riding position is great. It is a little bit more forward than the previous generation bike, and you do feel that. The pegs are a bit higher and a bit more racy than the previous generation bike, and you do feel that as well. But it doesn't feel like a bike that you're going to have too many aches and pains on. The only thing that I did pick up, and this is after a full day riding, and it only really happened when we're on the motorway and dual carriageway, you do get a bit of vibration through the fuel tank. It's important to note that you don't get any through the bars, you don't get any through the pegs, and the seat as well is pretty much vibration free. It's just through the plastic tank sides of the fuel tank, you just feel a little bit of a vibe coming through at certain RPM ranges, and it sort of comes and goes as you move through them. But on a full day, if you were sitting at that range on the motorway, that would get a little bit tiresome, so it might be something to look out for. Overall though, the comfort's been great. The seat is a big improvement over the previous one. It's bigger, it is flat, there's not a lot of contour at the back of it, but there's loads of room for you to move around if you need to find some space. And the step over at the front of the seat, a lot of manufacturers say, oh, we've made the step over narrower, and you get on the bike and you can't really feel it. But on this, you can genuinely feel it. I was pretty much flat foot on the floor, and at like an 820 odd mil seat height, that's pretty good going for somebody who is as short as me. What I need to talk about with this bike though, isn't any of that stuff really, it's the braking system. Because this isn't the first bike to get the WP braking system. I think there's a 390 that's already in the public domain that has got braking system by WP fitted to it. But it is the first big bike, big performance bike, should we say, in the range that has got the WP hardware. It is the big news story of this bike, and it's not for no good reason. WP's move from the suspension sector into the braking component sector was a pretty big surprise to most people. But actually, when you think about it, it starts to make sense. WP already makes the components that calipers and braking systems bolt onto and work hand in hand with, so why not just make the rest of it as well? After a day of riding this thing on some seriously tight, seriously twisty and seriously fast mountain passes, I can tell you, the brakes are very, very good. I'll tell you why. They've done 3 things with the braking system on this bike, and they've made it feel pretty much as premium as the market leader that you can go out and buy, Brembo. First and foremost, the lever feel in the initial part of the lever is very, very progressive. So it's almost like if you're trail braking down into a tight right or left-hand hairpin, you can kind of just dial in just a really finite amount of braking power without going too far. Then as you get into the meat of the lever, you've got this nice sort of resistance that you want from a sporty braking system. You want a reassuring amount of pushback from the lever as you get into the meat of it. And that is when the braking power comes in, because that is the other thing that WP have managed to do, is they've managed to integrate a system that has got really lovely lever feel, feels very progressive in the first part of the lever movement, but actually once you get into the meat of the lever, offers lots and lots of braking power. And that's the biggest thing that I can say about it. If I had been put on this bike and told not to look at any of the calipers, any of the master cylinders, anything like that, and ride it and say, who do you think built the brakes? I would have said, probably Brembo, and I would have hazarded a guess at like an M50 caliper, which is a premium brake caliper. That's on a lot of premium bikes. WP have come out with basically their second braking system that they've built from scratch, and they've matched one of the market leaders on the planet, which is absolutely brilliant. I think they've knocked it out of the park. If this is WP's, second crack at building a braking system, in 2 or 3 years, they're going to be absolutely flying, because those are genuinely very good brakes. And while we're bringing it back to the 790 Duke that I'm sat in front of, they're a big step up from where the J1 4-piston calipers were on the previous generation bike. So it is really a win-win on that one. So looking at this bike, you can tell the direction that KTM have gone in. They've gone down the route they always go with their middleweight nakeds and the Duke family. They've gone aggressive, they've gone raucous, they're out to get attention, and that is exactly what this bike does. These bikes have always been the naughty schoolboy of the middleweight class. They're the ones that misbehave, they're the ones that play up, they're the ones that get people into trouble, and that hasn't really changed. What has changed is that KTM have somehow managed to engineer into the bike with previous generation 790s or 890 Dukes, to be honest with you. It does feel a little bit more grown up when you ride it. It's still quicker than most people would really need. But I think for a lot of riders who just ride their bike day to day and they don't just go hurling it around country lanes at the weekend, this is going to be a much easier proposition to live with if you're doing slightly more miles. It's just going to be a much friendlier bike than the older generation 790 Duke was. Well, that is enough from me, folks. I've been towed out here in Austria with Visordown.com. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe so you can stay up to date with all of our latest content. And for the latest news, reviews and motorcycle features, get yourself over to Visordown.com.